Hey everybody, it's Bust, continuing our playthrough of the Path of Champions. Today, we're going to be taking on the 2-star quest, the Titan of the Depths, going up against Nautilus. We'll be doing battle with our Teemo. And so, our Teemo, he is up to 1 star. The 1-star power gets us, when allies attack, you plant 5 puff caps on random cards in the opponent's deck. We have managed to get our champion up to champion level 10, and we've made a slight edit to our deck from the games in the past. In the past, we've been putting the Lost Chapters on our Teemo. That gives you 3 spell mana as soon as he comes into play. And we are using that in combo with the Conchologist and the like so that we could get a big chain of spells happening in the early game. Now that we have the Rare Relic attachment and we need to be a little bit more focused on tackling the late game opponent and delivering as many puff caps as we can, we've switched to using Gale Force. So it gives Teemo the Scout and then round in Recall. And so it gives him a lot more protection. He gets those 2 attacks in on our attack token, and then he's protected in our hand after the turn ends. So we'll be looking to be a little bit slower, and we're going to be trying to get a little bit more late game, a little bit more puff cap damage loading as our opponents have more health and in general have more powerful abilities. And so that's what we'll be doing today. Let's see if we can't click on the quest. Did it real good. Head on into battle. All right, Sejuani in the middle, Nautilus at the end. Let's see what turns up. So what do we got here? I'm okay with some of these, right? Give your weakest ally 3/3 is a very powerful one. It works kind of nicely with Teemo, but the downside with this in our Teemo now is he's not going to be on the board at round start, right? He's going to recall at the end of the turn, so he's never going to get this bonus. And so it's still good. Landing this on Puff Cap Pups is strong, and it makes us have a pretty good defense in a deck that is kind of lacking. But I do like gearing up as well. Starting with the 2 armed gearheads, we have a lot of potential in terms of putting the card creation into our decks, if it's with Puff Cap generation or with Conchologist. And when we start with this at the beginning, we know that we can really come out and focus on it. So we'll be starting with the gearing up here. Head on to the beast below. The foe's sea monsters have fearsome. Okay. I'm ready to get those turn 1 flipped Teemo hits in. That's what that's what life's all about when you're scouting with Teemo. Tried to mulligan a little bit and find him. Didn't turn up. I'm okay to hold on to a single Puff Cap Pup to make sure we have a decent curve, but really hoping we had some early Teemo happening here. All right, GG. All right, let's go with the Conchologist here. Maybe we'll find an answer to the Jaw Hunters. He's probably just going to attack, so we won't have time to do the Electro Harpoon. But the Conchologist also draws a card, so it's going to give us a little bit of potential in terms of finding a Teemo. Right. Let's see if opponent gets anything on board. Most of his units aren't big enough to deal with the Lecturing Yordle, right? He's not deep yet, so I figured we would get a pretty good hook this turn, and then we'll get to follow up with the Poison Dart, take down something causing us some problems. And that's you. You're the problem, Abyssal Eye. We probably could have just gone to face with that. That's kind of a greedy approach, but if we did 1 to face there and then 2 with the Electro Harpoon, we would have some opportunities to get the kills in if the Puff Caps were going to hit. Alright, well, I'm ready to block. We're in Puff Cap mode now. The Ava Achievers are ready to close this game out for us. Alright. Get this unit good and dead. Now we should be good to win with our board width. fish out of water, bro. We did it. GG. So what do we got? More Puffcat pups? Can't complain about that too much. On to the champions. Let's see if we can't get something that works nicely with the armed gearheads that we picked up. We could look towards Zoe. That does give us quite a bit of card generation between the Sketcher and the Zoe. My problem with this is the way we typically tackle Teemo is we try and cut a lot of 4-cost cards out of our deck, and this is adding stuff that we're just never going to play in these Sleepy Trouble Bubbles. Just such a horrible spell that it's the typical first cut for me. So I'm just going to come down here and pick up this Legion Grenadier. I'm very happy with the strength of this Darius. It gives us a different angle of attack and victory that doesn't involve just the puff caps. The Legion Grenadiers are reasonable too. And then the Death's Hand does some decent interactivity. It's not super strong in this set since it doesn't kill a lot of sea monsters, but it's a nice average quality pool, I think. All right, so now we can either move on to a shop or an item chest. Let's go to the item chest. We can hopefully hit a puff cap pup or something. All right, round start, he gives the strongest unit of vulnerable. All right, same deal as last time. We'll hang on to the Grenadier to make sure we have something on 2, but we're going to mulligan for a Teemo. Nowhere to be found, my little Yordle friend. Nowhere to be found. So what is this, a 3/3? We have like some ways around it, but I think we'll just add the pup in. Say he's assumed he was going to hit one of our 1/1s and then we could some fumes down the Stalking Wolf, but I feel like we could come up with a better angle for him a little bit later. So we got to Disintegrate, but man, the rest of this hand sucks. We really need to find our Teemo friend. Not a bad set here, though. Pick up an Augment to take down the Archer, get the Disintegrate on the Wolf. Buy us some time. Gonna do the same thing. I can already tell. And take down some of our small friends. Not very nice. What are you at? 24? Still pretty healthy. Just a little bit of chip damage. Look at that collection of puff cap pups. That's how you bring the quick attacks in. Sure. So we got a dart to take this wolf down now. It's going to continue to grow our armed gearhead. We're getting the deck loaded up with puff caps. Just need a way to come in and close now. It's got 22 puff caps and 17 cards. There's Teemo. I knew you'd show up eventually. Okay, just let him kill some stuff. Not really worried about this combat here. And then we'll get the finish next turn with Teemo. It's going to be sweet. We're going to play this Teemo. We're going to get our scout attack in, ready to get this big old chunk of damage happening, and he's just going to say, LOL. It's a brittle steel. All right, load him up. Oh opponent's out of cards, we're safe. Got him. Whew, GG. So what do we got? Anything exciting here? I'm not, like, amped about any of these. I'm leaning towards the Death's Hands with the +1 damage attached to it, just to make it a little bit more relevant. There's an argument to pick things like Might. You know, Might lets you attack with Teemo, and then if he gets blocked, still punch in the damage, but I'm worried about, like, a lot of the quality of the cards in our deck at this point. And I don't think we need to just be adding in, like, random garbage. You know, it's not that it's, you know, not useful, but it's not really on point with the plan that we're trying to do of getting that puff cap damage in and then supporting our puff cap plan with augment. And so we'll boost up the spell that we already have, see if we can't make it better or something else better with the -1 cost here. I'm going to start re-rolling kind of heavily on these items. We need something good happening in here, and upgrading the puff cap pups is quite good. The support hopefully make our units relevant in combat. We're not a very combat-focused deck. Into the shop. Don't want Dragon's Rage. These cards in here are all garbage as well. And so we could pick up, again, we could pick up Might, but not really on theme with what we're trying to do. So let's re-roll this power, see if we can't find a good one. Counterfeit Production's not horrible. Gives us a created card to play every turn of the game. And then I believe the counterfeit copies in our deck also count as created cards for the rest of our augments, but it's pretty low quality. Blade's Edge is a little bit stronger. We'll take that one. We don't quite have the mana tools to make it spectacular, but it's what we're gonna go for. So coming out of these, I want this champion item chest in the middle. There is a Dreg Dredgers, which I forget what does. We'd have to look it up. The champion item chest or the Slaughter Docks, which I also don't remember what it does. But we're really looking to add more Teemos to our deck. So we're going to take the south route, head towards the champion item chest. Get to do the treasure trove battle. And so the round start, you put a treasure trove in your deck, then you toss. The ultimate way to get created cards into your deck. You just play the treasure troves, the augmented experimenter treasure trove combo deck. Alright, so slightly awkward here. The Teemo does have the round end recall, so if we add him to the board on the first turn, he's just going to recall back to our hand. And so I'm going to go pretty aggressive with this one. If we're going to have, you know, our Teemo recall, then I want to at least spend these Blade's Edges now, get our armed gearheads leveled up, and then try and punch in as aggressively as we can. We should be getting this flipped Teemo hit in on the first turn, or the first attack token. Right, so we attack, puts the 5 in the deck, Teemo strikes, gets that 5 in, the Blade's Edge to the face. Now on this Teemo attack, the power that we have will put the 5 in his deck, and then the strike will double up the puff caps. This is the power in the Scout Relic. Then you would say, you know, Teemo is a little bit susceptible to dying while he's just out and about and hanging out. So when our opponent says plays that 4/4 for 6 that gets to target and kill a unit, Teemo should safely be in our hand whenever he starts those shenanigans. It's cast in the treasure trove. Okay. I'm a little scared. Not big scared, just a little scared. I'm just gonna sit back on the Death's Hand and see if we can't pick up a unit to kill. Right, well, we can't do anything about a Tusk Raider. Can't kill Ren. This is trouble. This is trouble. Let's start adding dudes to the board. We gotta block some of this stuff. Like, I suspect we're gonna be getting our kills with Teemo, but we gotta prevent a bit of this damage.
Wanna arm wrestle? Sure about that?
Okay, so the augment will grow our gearhead. It'll now take down the Spring Guardian, but we're really just kind of counting on Teemo to get the kill at this point. Which would, assuming he doesn't get interacted with, and we get our opponent up to, I don't know, 120 some puff caps or so. Hopefully be enough to just end it. You gotta say, come on, no interactivity. None of that stuff. This is supposed to be a one-way game. All right, so we got the Teemo win. I just want to kind of maximize with him now. So we'll add the Puff Cap Pup. You want the pups to hit to the left of your Teemo so they get the strikes in before it doubles. And hopefully we got enough for a lethal. You never know, man. You get him, you get him down to 1. That's the perfect time to miss on the puff caps. Oh, that was the toss. Okay. I was like, oh shit, we really missed. We really missed. Okay. GG. All right, so do we want any of this stuff? None of it plays to our created cards theme, but the Aloof Travelers does play towards the idea of puff caps, forcing your opponent to draw cards. Again, the problem with this is we already have the Chump Wump that we don't really want. We have the Lecturing Yordle we're okay to just cut from our deck, and now we're adding in another 4-cost card, and so we are worried a little bit about our curve. Hopefully we can cut some of that out before it's all said and done, but it's something to be a little bit worried about. Now here, giving Teemo Barrier is kind of nice. It'll let us, say, play him on our opponent's turn as a blocker. He'll recall it into turn, come back, and then we can play him again the next turn with another barrier to get his safe attacks in. It is kind of interesting seeing, summon to draw a card. A lot of value potential when the unit recalls every turn, but I'm a little bit more concerned with his safety. All right, let's cut a card. I think we have enough health for Sejuani. Gonna cut out the Chump Wump. Again, it's a little bit too expensive. We have too much of a glut at the 4-cost space. So now, when the foe summons a unit, give it 1/1. All right, we found a Teemo. I'm not amped about stress defense, but this is a match to where things can certainly go wrong. And I feel like he's probably not going to interact well with our Teemo, but it does have a lot of potential to just miss with puff caps, right? If we get our puff cap thing going, we're attacking, everything sounds well and good, and then we just kind of catch a bad run of it. The stress defense should allow us to kind of buy a turn. But the magic's starting to happen here. I wonder if he'll even attack into this barriered Teemo. I guess our question has been answered, but I wouldn't have been completely surprised if opponent held back a little bit there. All right, then we're going to have legitimate attackers on the next turn. So we're still a little safe here, right? Our health hasn't gotten too low. We could probably take one round of attacks and not have to worry about it too much. But I like this, the strength that we're about to have in these armed gearheads. The faces of the old one just completely canceling our plan. Puff cap pup it is. can't attack a 3/1 quick attacker into the faces of the old ones, and so move in with the pup. But now we should be pretty close to good, right? We've got 148 puff caps in the deck. It's probably not going to lethal him this turn, but we have a handful of blockers. If he's going to drop Sejuani, then we have a stress defense to cancel out on the big attack, and I think we're just safe. All right, so Teemo comes back. Then we're good to take him up to, 600 puff caps or so. That should that should be enough to end the game. You just burn him out. Got him. All right, more Teemos. Oh, the ephemeral ones. That's going to be pretty nice. So now we should get the flipped hit on the first attack, and then we can start. Well, I guess it's going to be about the same amount of time, but I do like this. And then especially since our Teemo has the barrier and the recalls, this is actually going to be pretty bonkers in terms of just throwing blockers down, putting 2 barriered blockers down, and then getting the 2 attackers on the next turn. That's all going to be pretty good. Coming in here, cards you draw this round cost 1 less is fantastic. On to the next set. Do we want to battle the Poros? This is one of the most challenging vicious enemies in the game. I don't think it's going to be worth it here. The payoff of just getting a power isn't quite worth it. So we're going to come down to the Abyssal Eye. I'll have to look up what Mind Meld is, but the item chest is probably what we'll be going after. So the foe's allies have Nexus Strike, draw 1. Do all the Nexus Striking you want, my friend. Just draw all the puff caps. Right, so we'll keep the pup. Look for our Teemos. Found him. Slightly awkward. If we did this oddly. We should have just sent the damage to face. It'll be okay though. Do our Blade's Edges count as free now? It's not drawing a card, right? That last one wasn't free. Okay. Alright, here come the Teemos. Give me that flip. Uh-oh. Opponent is getting concerned. It's a nice little set of quick attackers. Surprised to see opponent blocking here, but not complaining. Looks good. Oops, we should have played our free Teemo. I was about to start onto this this conversation about how it's slightly awkward having all these mushroom clouds, because we don't really want to be drawing mushroom cloud, right? It's not a good draw by any stretch of the means, and we're just kind of stuck with it at this point. And so it is what it is, as they would say. But you have to kind of make the decision: do I want to hold these puff caps in hand, or do I want to put the count in the deck to be a little bit higher? And I'm fine enough with the count going high here. So we took a bit of damage. Now we should be good to finish with Teemo. What do you got? He's at 55 puff caps. Get him close to 1,000. Ooh. Thought this guy was gonna have elusive. Alright, Puffcat Pup, where you at? What do we got him to? 200? Man, I thought we were going to get like 1,000. Mathematics, never my strong suit.
Yeah, I'm ready.
They'll never know what hit them.
Try to keep up. Come then. Upgrade. Nice.
Alright, so we'll send the Blade's Edge to face, get the augment on our gearhead, take down the blocker. Got opponent up to 400 puff caps at this point. I hope it's enough. I don't want to take any more incidental damage. Got him for 14. GG. All right, so let me look up that ability real quick. What we want? I don't want any of these, but I guess the Lecturing Yordle is going to be as good as it gets. The suit up is one of those cards that's kind of interesting with Teemo, but if we're going to be recalling Teemo every game, I don't care about getting him suited up. But which one was this? Mind Meld. Okay, so we are just on the ftpbus.com site. If you go up to the Utilities button and then pick on Events, that'll bring up all of the ones in the game. We'll just search for the Mind Meld in the little search box. So you get to choose a card and cut all copies of it from your deck. Each choice costs you health. So, Ooh, I am not opposed to coming in and cutting some cards. How much health is it? Just one? That's not very much. All right, Puffcat Peddlers, you're gone. You're too expensive. Now it costs 2. Lecturing Yordles, you're gone. Okay, what's the next one? Stress Defense is a pretty tempting cut. That's, or not Stress Defense, the Death's Hand. It's like, again, as we're up against all of these... as we're against like all of these sea monsters, is just not going to have too many targets. Now I think we have to stop. Getting to 8 damage is kind of a real amount, and these cards are not horrible. I'm happy enough with the Stress Defense. We got rid of the 4 drops that weren't the aloofs, and so I think our curve is good enough now. I think we're in a good spot to close this one out. So, into the shop. Let's check the power first. It's match my power to my health. I don't like this one. I prefer the grow my health to my power, but we'll see what our other choices are. Don't need the card draw. I think we're good in that sense. Battlefield Prowess with the item thing isn't terrible, but it's not very exciting. I do like this Ava Achiever with the -1 cost. I don't want to load a bunch of these up into our deck, so I'll buy the first one so that we get the item, but I'm not going to buy the additional copies out of the shop. So otherwise, I could see picking up Arena Kingpin. This is a nice way to deal some damage, then have a good blocker, but not really excited about it. So, is there another shop? There is another shop, but we're probably just going to head to the item chest. So let's go ahead and buy the power. We're not going to be spending any more money this round. Okay, so the Jawl Hunters. When the foe summons a unit, if they aren't deep, they toss 2. Otherwise, they reduce the cost of the sea monsters in hand by 1. What do we got? We got that Teemo. Everybody else is a little bit too expensive. Start that Puffcat party.
Nothing like the great outdoors. Swiftly.
Fortunately, these gearheads aren't going to be doing much attacking. They do a pretty good amount of blocking, though. I mean, most of these sea monsters don't have Fearsome or have Overwhelm, and so lots of damage prevention coming out of these gearheads. What are we up to? 40? Nice rounded number. Not a bad start for Puff Cappin'. Alright, well, at the end of the day, we can still add our Puffcat Pup to the board. So I'm going to drop in the Teemo. Make sure that we get a good blocker out of this, and then we'll play the Pup post-combat. Didn't want him just hooking the Pup with the Jawl Hunters. Beast below in.
I'll scout ahead.
Should get him to 100 some. People come here just to watch me do the math. That's what it's all about. Let's see how Bust can butcher these mathematics. Let's see, at 132.
They'll never know what hit 'em. More mushrooms.
All right, now we just need a blocker. All right, we'll take the Death Ray. I don't think it's going to kill anything here, but the game should be ending in pretty short order. 19. It was enough. Go team. Opponent didn't squeeze him quite tight enough. So what do we got? More Teemos? Absolutely. You do kind of get to the point to where there's too many again, because like drawing him as a puff cap card can be kind of bad, but I think he's okay. Let's just add in these puff cap puffs now. This is our best defensive unit in the early game. He has a little bit more puff cap additions. Now I think we can safely heal. Now, we just cut all of those cards out of our deck. We're pretty lean and we're pretty trim. If you really wanted to make that kind of like highlight reel style deck, you could cut the Legion Grenadier out, but I think our deck is good enough to achieve victory now. I'm just going to pick up the heal, head on into Nautilus. And so when any unit dies, you heal the foe's Nexus 1, and the foe tosses 1 if they aren't deep. We're going to be losing that ephemeral Teemo, playing into our opponent's strategy. It's tough, man. It's tough. Alright, we got the Teemo, but no puff cap pups. We just have to make the best of it. There's the pup.
Nothing like the great outdoors.
Oh man, we're going to be getting all of these nabs as well. So just sending them immediately into deep. It's tough, man. That's tough. We do get to increase the density of those puff caps in their deck, though. Taking all these hits out of their deck counts for something, right?
I'll scout ahead.
Not sure if it even matters. It should matter, right? If you have 100 puff caps going into 10 cards, they should take more damage than if they were having 100 puff caps going into 20 cards. The density should just be a little bit higher. All right, look at us playing cards. We're actually using our drawn cards cost 1 less. Now let's get the Teemo on the board.
Reporting in. Swiftly.
So this is like might be the last turn that we legitimately get Teemo attacks in, right? If opponents... Oh god, we're taking... I forgot what happens when you put Nab onto Teemo. Oh my god, we might actually lose this. How many are in here now? 140? Because we're drawing these cards out of our opponent's deck. This will be like our last Teemo attack. Shit.
Stand ready.
Right, because it's like a small number of puff caps in here right now until they double. We just took 5. Teemo will get his hit in and they'll start to double. I think we're in a safe enough space though to where to where we can make something happen. And then I forgot to attack with the rest of our units. I had that mind-bending revelation that we should not have put the Thieves' Tools onto Teemo. And I forgot to attack with our other units. I think we're safe, but that was definitely a little sloppy. But this is the spot I started to be worried about in terms of we may not be able to deal damage to them ever again, in that we've just put our Teemo... Or he's put this elusive on the board. We attack into it twice, don't get those Nexus strikes. But I think we're fine at this point. We just got to sit around and wait. We're not drawing from that mountain of puff caps anymore. There it is. GG. Oof, that's a little scary. I got a little bit too much onto autopilot, and I'm glad we got to course correct a little bit. And so, you know, not a bad set of games. This is our first one on video where we swapped from the Lost Chapters into the scout equipment, and it's pretty good, right? There's no denying that hitting with flipped Teemo on the first turn of the game is pretty good. And this is a strategy we're going to be able to carry on the rest of the way. And so once we get that tier 2 relic, we'll go back to attaching the Lost Chapters. But for now, I think that the Gale Force and the Scout is just a little bit more powerful than getting access to that mana. Because our deck is so bad defensively, our units are so small, it gives us a way to close out the game before the opponent's deck really comes online. And so that will do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bustin. We thank you for being here.